Mehl. What is your full name?
My name is Adam Stephen Mehl.
And how old are you?
I'm 37.
Where do you live?
I live in Dallas, Texas.
And have you had any nicknames?
Not that I care to share on camera.
Okay. Where and when were you born?
I was born in November 24th, 1973. I'm a turkey baby, and born in Silver Spring, Maryland.
And where did you live and grow up as a child?
Houston, Texas, and Boston, Massachusetts.
As a child?
As a child, I grew up in Houston, Texas, and Boston, Massachusetts.
And would you describe your family as poor, middle class, upper class?
Upper.
Our family was.
My family, I grew up with a great family, middle, upper, I'd say.
And what did your dad do for a living?
My dad is retired now, but he was a corporate attorney.
And did your mother work?
Yes, family restaurant business.
My mother.
My mother works in our family restaurant business.
And what schools did you attend and start, like grade school all the way up, and where were those schools
Sure.
located?
The schools that I attended, let's see here, was elementary school was in Houston, Texas at Westbriar, a private school in Houston. Then middle school was T.H. Rogers in Houston. High school freshman year was Lamar in Houston, and then I moved to Boston to live with my dad. And there I went to Beaver Country Day School to finish out high school. And then college was UMass Amherst.
And what degrees did you receive in college?
I had a Bachelor of Science. The degree that I received in college was Bachelor of Science, major in Sport and Entertainment Management.
Did you have any postgraduate degrees?
No, Ringling was my postgraduate degree.
When you were a kid, what did you want to do when you grew up?
Wanted to be a sports agent. When I was a kid, I wanted to be in sports, entertainment. I'm really following my path. The career path that I've been following is one that I thought of as a child.
And what was your first job?
6 days after my first job was 6 days after I graduated college. I went on the road to work for Feld Entertainment.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, talk about that. Give me the year and tell how you found the job. How you found out about the job
Sure.
at Ringling.
The way that I found out about Feld Entertainment, I actually a college buddy of mine, Al Tylis, who never worked for Feld, he interned for Feld the summer before during college, and he had told me that I should meet this guy named Joe Gold, so I went and I sent my resume to Joe when I was a senior in college. That was at UMass Amherst, and so I got a call from Joe, and he said, well, why don't you come down and meet me? So I came down to Boston and met him, and the rest is history.
Did you interview with Joe, Alan Bloom? Did you?
I interviewed with Joe. When I interviewed for the job, it was with Joe Gold at the Bostonian Hotel, and I'll never forget. I walked in. I had a blue suit on and brown shoes, and the story goes that Joe didn't. He tells me now that he didn't pay attention to the interview because he was so upset that I wasn't fashionably dressed, that I wore my brown shoes with a blue suit, and we were interviewing in the lobby of the Bostonian Hotel, and there was a glass table, and all he kept doing was staring at my shoes the whole time. So.
It's funny. What years did you work for Ringling, and what do you remember most about those years?
I worked for Ringling June of '96 to July of '99, and there was the 3 greatest years of my life. Anyone that is out of college, that graduates college, and in that 22 to 24 or 5 range, I always recommend them to apply for a job at Feld. It really was the greatest experience I've ever had.
When you were working for Feld, who was the person who had the most influence?
When I was working for Feld, there were 2 people that were really instrumental in my development. One obviously was Joe, and then more of the day-to-day was David Parr.
So, Ringling Promoters really, it's a whole unique way of advertising and marketing. What do you consider one of the special things that you did while you were there?
One of the special things that I did at Ringling Brothers. I would have to say, not to sound too cliche-ish, but everything was special there. It was a job like none other. I remember in my interview with Joe, Joe said, "You're going to live the life of a millionaire without a dollar in your pocket." And that is really the life that I led. Let's just say that those pink compasses really, not the yellow ones, the pink ones, those are the valuable ones. Those really added to the experience at Feld Entertainment.
Ringling supervisors are mentors, but they're really very tough sometimes. What was your experience during your training time?
My experience during the training time. Well, Joe and Dave, they gave me, like all Feld promoters, they give you that 90-day long leash to hang yourself, sink or swim type attitude. And I remember it was about the first month on the job. I went to Buffalo right after I graduated college, and I was commuting between Buffalo and Pittsburgh and Albany and Lake Placid, and that was pretty much the first year. But the first month, I was in between Buffalo and Pittsburgh. And I'll never forget, I remember sitting in the Sheridan Station Square Hotel in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I was always known for trading for great hotel rooms and big suites, and that was one of the things that I really liked about the job. And I got a call from Joe and Dave on the on three-way in my hotel room, and we were reviewing my Buffalo marketing plan, and I had no clue what I was doing. Absolutely zero idea. Dave had handed me a couple marketing plans, and he said, "Here, just this is what you do, make it look like this," and I had no clue. And I'll never forget the fear that I felt when Joe got on the phone and just ripped that marketing plan to shreds. It was whether it was good or not, that really wasn't the point of the whole thing. I think Joe just wanted to make a point and put a little fear in me. I have to say though, the training that I received and the way that they went about it is I wouldn't change anything for the world. I wish that HR departments could almost go away and would allow some similar type training methods to really have employees in current day jobs be able to really experience what we experience as Feld promoters.
Feld promoters are really a close-knit group, and life after Feld, they seem to keep in touch. Has that been your experience?
Yes. The Feld promoter community is a very tight-knit community. I've had the pleasure of interacting with several past promoters, a few that are still at the company that grew up when I was there. I would say there's probably a good 3 or 4 or 5 handfuls of promoters that I keep in touch with, do some business with. I really actually owe 2 of my jobs in life to former Feld promoters that had placed me in those jobs or that I ended up going to work for. And it's just an incredible network.
When you're working for Feld, it's really difficult because a lot of times you come into town and you don't know anybody. It's lonesome. What was that experience like, that part of the job for you?
For me, it was going into a city and not knowing anyone was a great experience for me. It really allowed me to flourish and really create something that I could call my own. Obviously, you have the foundation and the brand of the circus and the ice shows and everything else that we were promoting at the time, but they allowed you to make it your own. And it was such a rush to fly into that city for the first time. I remember that Avis rental car. I can't tell you how many great Avis rental car stories I have. And just getting into that market and knowing that you've got 4 to 6 months to promote this show, and really you felt like a big fish in a small pond. Even in the last market that I promoted for Feld in Chicago, which is a huge top 3 city, I still felt like a big fish even in that big pond. The name Feld and Ringling and Disney, it just has a different ring to it when you pick up that phone and say where you're from.
So, and how does that help you after you left Feld?
Feld teaches you how to live and work on your own. We always made a joke that we cut the best deals in our skivvies. Back when I grew up at Feld, we worked from hotel to hotel, FedEx your clothes or your work to the next city, or figure out a way to box it up and put it on the plane, or drive to the next city. And there's that sense of independence. There's that sense of really just knowing that you've got a multi-million-dollar show that you're completely responsible for, and they've given you full autonomy to really make it happen. And that experience has really translated into me being able to be a better professional and understand, I think, marketing and sales a little bit differently than most that haven't had the Feld experience.
After you left Feld, what kinds of jobs have you had?
The kind of jobs that I've had after Feld have all been entertainment or marketing related. When I left Feld, I left it to join actually a Latino event and concert company, where I stayed there for 6 or 7 years, and that was an incredible experience, really understanding and learning the Latino community. From there, I went to work for Premier Exhibitions, which is the Bodies in Titanic show. And then from there, I went to the Dallas Mavericks to serve as their director of marketing. And I'm currently now at CBS Radio handling their business development.
Good. Do you think you've made enough money to be comfortable?
I've done quite well for myself. I've spent a lot of money, and I've squandered a lot of money, but Feld set me up to really. Feld gave me the opportunity to. Let me rephrase. What I learned at Feld allowed me to go and seek out those great jobs, and really, I feel, be a little bit further ahead than the competition or the peers that I was interviewing against, which has afforded me great opportunities and hence a better lifestyle.
What are some of the hardest choices you've ever had to make? Not just Feld, but in your whole life. It can be Feld, but
from a personal standpoint, the hardest choice I ever made was to leave my mother and to go live with my father. That was probably the hardest personal choice I've ever made. I think the hardest Feld choice I ever made was to leave. It was, I remember like it was yesterday. I actually called Jeff Meyer at the time and discussed it with him and told him that I was leaving, and was there any way that they could counter and make it work. And I really didn't want to leave, but after you promote Chicago, New York, or LA, which are the top 3 markets, there's really nowhere to go. I didn't see myself being a lifer here at Feld, and moving up through the ranks to director or or regional vice president or things of that nature. But I loved it. I loved every day of it, every minute of it. Still do. I still call for comps.
During your whole life, is there a single person that changed the course of your life? Something they did or the way they were?
Well, in terms of changing the course of my life for a good or bad way, bad way could be ex-wife, but no, I'm kidding. The single person that has changed my life, No, I think each opportunity I've had in my life, be it personal and professional, has been a life-changing experience. I don't think I could pinpoint one exact person.
Can you think of something that someone said to you, advice they gave you, that really stuck with you and made an impact on your life?
My dad has always told me that you judge a man by the number of people that show up to his funeral. And I got to tell you, I plan to have one hell of a party at my funeral. But no, I think that that's some sound advice, and it makes sense. If you're good to people and you're honest and a really good person at the heart and treat people with respect, you'll get the same in return.
During your time at Ringling and at Feld, what was your best experience, your happiest experience?
That I can talk about? The happiest experience I can talk about? Again, there are so many great experiences at Feld Entertainment. I'm constantly reminded of all of the fun things that we did and all the fun things we got away with and all of the the great. I mean, there's not one particular. There's not one particular moment I think that I can pinpoint that say was just the greatest, but I will tell you there's been some great adrenaline rushes. I was the promoter of the Chicago date at the United Center when I believe his name is Graham, the lion tamer. The tiger attacked him, and obviously, it's a very sad situation of what happened to him. But yeah, I have to tell you that the adrenaline was definitely pumping that day. Some funny experiences. I remember George Pasterjoff and Silvio Laskov, I believe. We had the red 127, I believe, with Zusha, the hippo. And I was in Albany as the promoter. And I got a call the week of the show from George and Silvio, and they said that Zusha was going to be coming in on a special plane, and we had to create this PR event. Little did I know at the end that they were messing with me. But here I am spending the whole day arranging this transportation and an airplane and all of these things that I had to do to have Zusha. It didn't click that Zusha was going to ride on the train or however the damn hippo was going to get there. But I remember that they had me going all day long and creating this PR event and all this special transportation to get Zusha the hippo to the arena. And I'll tell you the scariest experience I've ever had at Feld. I almost got killed by an elephant. It was my first circus date at the Marine Midland Arena in Buffalo, New York. And I remember Mark Gable was right here, and I'm right here, and the elephants were inside the arena, in between us. And I don't know why, but I decided that I was going to try and walk through the elephants as opposed to walk around the elephants. And as I'm walking through, the elephants' trunks were this way. As I'm walking through, all of a sudden they turn around and Mark's like, "Adam!" And literally within a split second, I stepped back and I saw my life flash in front of me. It was a great experience.
What, can you think of your saddest moment while you're working with Feld?
My saddest moment at Feld. It was a sad day for me when I left because I loved the job. I thought it was a sad day when Joe Gold left. I really looked up to that man and really respected who he is and what he was to the circus. I don't really have any sad moments. The job was so much fun. It really was.
During your entire life, what's the most amazing thing that ever happened to you?
Oh God. The most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. I would say that the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me was, there's probably a couple, but one that stands out is my mother came down with cancer in Dallas, and I was living in Las Vegas at the time, and I needed to get to Dallas to be with my mother. And at the same time that I was trying to get down to Dallas to take care of my mother, Paul Monroe, who at the time and still is the VP of marketing at the Dallas Mavericks, knew, because we're very close friends, he knew that I needed to get to Dallas. And he had just gotten promoted from director of marketing of the Mavericks to the VP of Mavericks. And he called and he said, "Adam, I know you can do this job, and I know your mother's sick, and I want you to come down to Dallas and work with me." And if it wasn't for Feld Entertainment, I would have never gotten that phone call. So it actually gives me goosebumps to this day, talking about that experience and what Feld has meant to me. To be able, and sure, could I have gotten a job in Dallas and come down and figured something out, but to be able to know that there's a friend of yours that you grew up with and had the same battle scars at Feld, who is now in a position to offer you a job, to really bring you to your mother, I can't. That and many other reasons, I'll always be indebted to not only Paul but Feld as a whole.
During your entire life, what's the most stressful thing that's ever happened?
Besides my divorce, in terms of the most stressful things.
Maybe that's it.
As I switch positions in the chair, the most stressful thing that's ever happened to me. I would say that I've had a lot of stressful things, but nothing that I could ever overcome, or that I could not overcome. I just don't let that. I don't let that really get to me. I deal with stress every day, and some things are more stressful than others. But I don't know. I have to think about it, but nothing just jumps out at me as the most stressful thing ever.
If you could change anything in your life, would you?
I don't think I would change anything. I'm a pretty happy guy. I feel that I've made a lot of smart decisions in my life, and the dumb or stupid decisions that I've made in my life haven't really been that bad that has cost me anything. Maybe a little time, maybe a little money, but I'm a pretty happy guy.
Good.